Hello, everybody. Uh, All right. If anybody shows up, just in here working on a job, and you see, I got a little overstock of material going on there. I currently have 3 machines going, so uh, so I'm just sitting here babysitting machines and feeding them. So what you guys up to? But yeah, you can see I got a very busy screen going on here. That's right. I got X Tool Creative Space going, and I got 2 instances of Lightburn going. So I'm running everything I can run right now without having to open air it. What's up, Aaron? Hello, Josie. Guys, I'm sorry about the background noise, but I got lasers running, so I'm trying to get the mic a little closer. Maybe y'all can hear me over. Ooh, that may be a little hot. See if I can filter that out for you right quick. Let me see here. Give me a second. I'm going to try to filter out some of this noise. What's up, everybody? But yeah, I got 2 machines going, so it's going. If I don't filter it, it's going to be noisy. But noise suppression. All right. See if that works. Well, I got a lot of it out. Let me turn the mic down a little bit now. There we go. That would have a lot of the noise out, but you're probably still going to hear some. Let me see here. All right, that got a lot of the noise. How about that? Is that all right? Y'all hear me over the machines now? Well, I've got a big project that I'm working on, and right now I've got the V35, the longer B1 30 watt, and the X-Tool S1 40 watt, all cutting out the same thing. And I got a big stack of them going over there on the other side of the room. So that's what I'm working on right now. Just trying to get those done. It's a really big order, and I can't show it to you guys because it's kind of a surprise deal for the person that I'm making it for. I'm trying to get this mic adjusted right. But it's kind of a surprise for who I'm making it. They don't really want me to disclose it, so I can't show you a whole lot about it. But it's a big project. With 3 machines running, I figured it up. I'm gonna have 10 hours run time total by the time I get just getting the cuts done. And it's a 3-piece glue up, and there's 100 units. So it's gonna be an intense job. But tonight I just didn't feel like gluing anything together, so I'm just babysitting machines and feeding them. I went and got 10 sheets of plywood and broke it down, and I have filled up all of my storage bins for wood, and that's how much it won't fit in my storage bins. So, but it won't last long. It'll be gone here in a little while. I've done went through probably 10 or so of the big sheets, and a couple of the small ones since I got here. Something just disconnected and reconnected. Not sure what that was. Let me make sure it wasn't my mic. No, I hope it wasn't a laser. Let's check those. Looks like we're all good. But I just figured while I was sitting out here, anybody had any questions or anything, it'd be a good time to answer questions while I'm just sitting here waiting. I'm gonna wait till I get a really big stack going before I start doing the glue up and everything. And I just don't feel like fooling with glue tonight, so trying to get them all cut. I've got a deadline of about a week and a half, so I got to get this done. Barry, Oh, if you went from a 5 watt to the S1, whether you got the 20 watt or whether you got the 40 watt, you're going to be, uh, it's going to be a lot more power. The only, and I'm using it on the job tonight, so I'm not trashing the machine. The only thing is, I wish they'd have gave me about 6 more inches depth on the work area, because like my mirror file that I made the other day, I didn't even realize it, but you can't even cut the frame for the mirror on the S1. And I had some people that was like, I really want to make one of those mirrors, but it won't fit in the S1. But never fear, guys. I've got some 10-inch mirrors coming that'll be smaller, and so I'll be able to shrink the size of the frame as well, and hopefully I'll be able to build a file that will just fit in the S1, and you'll be able to use it on the S1 also. Now, this job is too big for the WeCreate. This is downsizing it for a 450 by 450 machine, but so it's a little big for the WeCreate, and if it hadn't been so big, I probably would have put it in the mix, because I just wanted to run enclosed machines. But since this job's a little bigger, it just wasn't suitable for the materials that I've got cut up and everything, and I didn't want to cut up 3 different size materials. So I'm just going with my usual trio. So convert pictures to run the laser. What software are you using? Because if you're using XCS or the WeCreate software, they do a pretty good job of modifying the photos. But if you're doing it in Lightburn, it's a little bit different, and you can do it several different ways. A lot of people use Imager. A lot of people use Adobe Illustrator if they have it. Laser Garble, which is basically Lightburn. I'm not that familiar with Laser Garble, but it is basically Lightburn, so the process should be the same. So hang on, I'll swap you all over to screen share, and I'll just kind of show you what I typically would do. And I'm just going to snag an image off of the internet, and we'll play with that. So here we go. All right, so like I said, I'm not doing anything with this image, so any of y'all copyright people or anything like that, I'm just looking for an image. So let's say you wanted to do a picture of a pet, because pets are probably the worst to do. So we'll do a bulldog, and we'll just get a picture of a bulldog. They're really kind of tough. So especially like this guy, because you've got all this. It's a little busy. Let's get a different picture. There's a good one. All right, so I'm just going to snag this, and like I said, guys, just doing this for trading purposes, not using it. All right, so there's a couple of different methods you can go about. If you run in Windows actually does okay with pictures. So you can go in here and, well, that is not how I want to open it. So you can go in here, open with, and this little photos that Windows includes, it actually, I've used it because, if you don't have anything else, and I can't see what y'all are texting, so let me move me a screen up top where I can see it. Hang on, give me just a second. Let me relocate a screen here so I can see what y'all are saying. All right, so if you go in here, you can just use the little editor tool that comes with Windows. It's not, the only thing that you're not going to be able to do with this is remove the background. So you're going to need something like Imager, or if you're using XCS or, WeCreate, you can do it there. But one of the biggest things that you're going to want to do to start with is, where's the filters at? They've moved this thing for me. Oh, there they are. All right, so one of the first things you're going to do is go ahead and just black and white it. But if you use black and white with high contrast, it works pretty good with lasers right out of the gate. Because what you do is you're gonna bring contrast between the blacks and the whites. You can actually go in and see where the right here. you could go in and go a little more extreme or a little less extreme, depending on what your medium is. But let's say, like, if I were going to try this image, I'd probably go about right there. I'd like to turn the sharpness up, but apparently they have moved sharpness on me. Well, where's sharpness? But yeah, about that would probably burn pretty well. And I can't show you. But now, if you have the program, I'm going to go ahead and tell you guys. If you have the program, this is the way I do most of mine, just because it is easy. And guys, disregard. All right, so in here, all you got to do is just go into this little tool here. This is Adobe Express. Now, it does cost money, so it's not a whole lot you can do. But this basically would work kind of like Imager and some of the other ones. And all you got to do on this software, if you have Adobe, like if you have Photoshop or you have a good subscription for Adobe, is you can go in and see it did a terrible job of removing the background. So you can go in here and it'll remove the background. Sometimes you do, especially with animals, you do have to go in and kind of patch things up. Let's see here. Yeah, where's my, they have updated this too? Oh my gosh, where's my tools? Okay, give me a minute, guys. I got to figure out what they've done to my software. I'm getting text. Hang on. Let me check my text messages. Sorry, guys. That was work. But a lot of folks like to use Imager, and I have never used it because I just had never needed it, to be honest with you. But it does a pretty good job from what I have been told of taking the background out and all that. There's a lot of guys that do videos on using it, and I don't know what they have done to my darn removing background. You can also use Photoshop and so forth. I wish they would quit moving stuff. This is ridiculous. It used to be so much simpler before they changed it to this new fangled stuff. They have got me. I'm gonna have to go to their help desk to figure out exactly where they moved my background from. Erase. Yeah, it's a terrible image. All right. This one's not wanting to work out. All right, old me. They're killing me. Leave that. All right, let me get us another picture here. Hang on. Let me find something a little better. Actually, I think I have a couple of videos that I put together because I'm trying to watch my machines as well, and they had changed my software from when I did it before. So I'm gonna have to wait and just do that one when I'm not like monitoring everything. But basically, you want to remove the background and you want to get the image to where it has high contrast between the blacks and whites, so that you can have lines, because you can't do a whole lot with color using a laser, because you only have one color, burnt and not burnt. So Steve, self-portrait, whatever. But yeah, it's all about trying to, and you just got to play around with those things, guys. And you don't have to do a really big engrave. Get you a small image, and I've got one, and I'll start another instance. Oh, hang on, this machine just finished. Let me swap it over. Hang on, gotta figure out which one of these light burns is the right one, guys. All right, that's where it needs to be. That one hadn't finished. Let me check that D1 of the S1 right there. All right. All right. Let me get my screen back up where I can see y'all. I need one more monitor. Yeah, Imager. I mean, I'll give you a website. I don't use it that much, so I'm not a pro on it. But it's pretty easy, and I think they've actually added a one-step. Here it is. This is probably the most popular tool that is out there currently. So I'll drop this. And there's a lot, like I said, guys, there's so many videos people do of using Imager out there. So you shouldn't have a hard time on YouTube finding somebody that knows what they're doing. More so than I do with Imager, because I never, ever have used Imager. But that's a real popular one. It doesn't cost you anything to use, from what I've been told. I think they may have a paid subscription, but you can use it without it. And it basically, you drop in an image, and I guess it has some presets that it applies to it, and you can rock with it that way. So that would be my advice if you don't have Adobe or Photoshop or some of the other more advanced softwares. Like I said, if you're wanting to leave the background in it, and if it's got like a white background or a background that's not going to conflict with the image, then you can use like the standard Windows photo editor. If you have a MacBook, they actually have a pretty decent default photo editing software that's on MacBooks and stuff too. So you want high contrast, you want it black and white, and you don't want a whole lot of busy stuff in the background. Whether you change the color of the background or whether you remove it, backgrounds will kill you as far as your image if you don't need them. So that'd be my advice. Take the background out. That's what I did on a lot of these that I do. Matter of fact, let me grab one. I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right, so this is a dog that I did, and the lines that you're seeing right there, that's the grain of the wood. That's a oak, and I did a really heavy burn, so the grain actually does come out. But if you look, that's a really deep burn, because you can see that little edge right there. All right. This is MDF. If you're wanting kind of photo quality type stuff, MDF does a really good job. This isn't a real deep burn. I kind of went a little light on it just to try to keep real good resolution. The secret to doing MDF that I have found is after you engrave it, you want to engrave it a little on the hot side, but after you engrave it, get you some sandpaper and an random orbital sander with like 220 grit so you don't go too deep, and just lightly sand it, blow it off, wipe it down or whatever until you get the contrast that you like. That's what I did on this one. You can see that like the whites are really light, and that is because I went back and it basically took the high spots, because I engraved it so deep down here, and sanded them back slick a little bit. So that is and then this one is the same picture, but it is on a piece of live edge poplar, and I would normally take and trim that off, but I haven't done it. This was just I don't remember exactly what I was doing, but I was just playing around with some different mediums for an image, and did it on several different woods to see. And that's what I got. So there you go. But yeah, like I said, Imager's a really good software according to a lot of people. I haven't used it, but high contrast, uh, good color separation. That's the big key, so that the darker colors are dark and the lighter colors are light. And if you're really lucky and you use MDF, you can get those medium tones as well. Uh, uh, Dale, it's actually doing pretty good. Today's the first day that I haven't taken any over-the-counter medication. I've gotten off of the prescription stuff about a week or so ago, but I had been taking Advil and Tylenol and that kind of stuff. But today I haven't taken anything all day long. I did have to have a couple of Tums a while ago, but that's all I had. But what's up, barbecue bullets and big rigs? How you doing over there, fella? Where you at tonight? You at home or you traveling? You never know where this guy's going to be. I mean, he may be in California. He could be Alaska. You never know. He moves around a lot. Arizona. But let's go check on it. Well, I guess I can look at the software and see. Let me move my software back around so I can see what my X tool's doing. See if it's finished. Y'all gonna make me leave my material sitting over there. Nope. X tool is still running. X tool's, why does it say an hour? Oh, apparently the timer does not start over if you hit the button on the front of the machine. Didn't know that. But yeah, I've got them working over here. See? Got it going. Can't show you too much, guys. Top secret. Augusta, Georgia. Well, you almost in the water over there. Headed to Indiana. Man, I tell you, I know a lot of guys like that. I don't mind driving, but I don't know that I could drive that much. It would drive me nuts being stuck in a truck all day. It's a gift for sure, and definitely got to have guys like you, because if not, how would we get stuff? But not something I could do. People tell me all the time my job's not something they could do. Well, I couldn't. I like driving, but I also like to get out and do stuff. So appreciate you what you do, but that's a lot of driving. Yeah, I got family members that drive, and they love it, but it's just, you got to be wired right for that. And I'm not. But yeah, but this was 10 sheets of Luan earlier. I went back to my store where I usually get my materials and told them that the last stuff I got was junk, and luckily they had what I normally get. And so, uh-oh, wait a minute, I think the longer's through again. Nope, it just went to a cut. So luckily they had a bunch of it, so I bought 10 sheets. I figure I'll use several of them tonight, burning these, and then hopefully I won't have all this extra here the next day or two, because I've got to burn 100 of these things. What's up, David? There's a lot of Davids coming here. But I've got 100 of these things to make, guys, and it actually takes 3 of these pieces to make one. So this is only 2, because these are some little cutoffs when I cut my material up to the 17.5 by 35 for the big enclosure. This is what's left over. And so in order to use this wood up, because I had generated so much of it with 10 sheets, I decided to set me a file up that's just 2. And I'll do 2 of the top 2 pieces, 2 of the top 2 pieces, and I do 2 bottoms. So I flip that file every so often to keep things going. But that was actually the last piece of that material that I have in that size. So I've converted over now to what I used to use, which should be cutting a little better. I actually had to slow down because of the material. So now hopefully I can be able to open my machines back up with a little bit of speed, because this stuff cuts much better than what I had. So, school bus driver. Oh Lord, no. I have thought about doing that when I retire, but I don't know. I've dealt with crazy adults all my life. I don't know that I want to deal with kids after I retire. You can't handle kids like you can handle people in my current line of work. So, probably not a good idea. But yeah, 3 machines going. I ain't gonna lie. Steve told me the other day that when I get one of these big jobs, I'll be wishing I had a bigger machine. And I ain't gonna lie. This one job, it would probably be nice, but I just don't know if I want to spend $6,000 on one that I use, you know, 3 or 4 times a year. Oh well, thank you, Jack. Yeah, I, I hope one day when I retire, I'll be having more time to do more files. But currently, I do them as I can. I've actually got to build a jig kit for this Ficta machine, or the Eligoo, whatever you want to call it. But I haven't got around to it because while I was down with my back, I don't know if you can see it right there, in stacked up right there. That is 8 stove covers that I have built, but I've got to stain them and get finished coating them, put the handles and the little, anti-skid pads on the bottom of them, and get them out the door. But the problem is I ran out of rags yesterday when I was going to do those, and tonight I got a table full of wood, and so I figure tomorrow night is going to be staining those and trying to get those out of here, so I can go ahead and get those invoiced out and just keep cranking these things out. And then one night I'm just going to sit over here putting these things together and getting them ready. But yeah, it's been busy. The back being back down in my back kind of got me behind. I've got, even after I get these 8 stove covers out, I've got 5 more ordered that I've got to do. So it's going to take me, and Christmas is coming up too, so people are hitting me up about Christmas stuff. I had some folks come by last night. I did a burn for them, and it's just getting crazy. Did one of y'all message me on Etsy? Somebody's messaged me on Etsy. I get a lot of Etsy messages. Uh, Hang on, I got to reply to a message. Etsy likes it when you reply quickly. Give me just a second. And I've noticed too that a lot of people, and I'm not trying to be mean, but a lot of people ask me questions that I answer in videos, but they still answer them. Well, hey, Steve, won't you play some music, Steve? Hey, won't you sing for us? What's up, Marcus? I heard you getting your tumblers done. I heard from Klein today that he's going to get those knocked out for you. That's good, because I am busy. As you can see, got 3 machines running. Yeah, Ventari gonna mess around, Steve. He gonna be on a naughty list. He ain't gonna get nothing. He'll get a lump of coal, maybe some switches. Wait a minute. No, actually, Scott, there was a theft here at the Clack Shack. My friend Klein came over and he was looking to add another machine to the mix, and he had the Creality 20 watt. So he has brought the Creality 20 watt back and has kidnapped the Asmer P2. So it's actually running at Klein's shop now. So I did have it, but I don't have it anymore. So he's using it. Uh, he was trying to. We're trying to get it because a lot of these big jobs, when he does my spillover, like with these jobs, it's a little quicker to do them with a 30 watt than it is with a 20. So what I'm trying to do, he's got a 20 watt machine that's extended, and then he's got a 30 watt Atom stack, and now he's got a 30 watt Asmer. So he's got plenty of cutting power over there now, and that way when I give him these jobs to cut stuff out for me, it's just a little bit faster to get them done. But it's still up and running. I did mess around and accidentally plugged a 12 volt relay up to it and kind of messed up the auto air assist. But Asmer's supposed to be sending me the new board. It's got a little board in there that apparently it got too hot. I didn't realize it was a 12 volt relay until it was too late. But now if I send any of them to Klein, which I told him I'm gonna wait and see how many I can get done this week. But if I end up sending them to Klein to get him to help me out, then there will be some done on the Asmer. But tonight I'm running the longer, the Acer V35 and the X-Tool S1. And that's the only reason I haven't pulled another machine down is because I have no enclosure to put it in, and I have nowhere to sit it. So I'm hoping 3 machines will be plenty. Yeah, with the extensions, I mean, the Asmer's a good machine. I liked it. Like I said, I really hated it when I messed up the automatic air assist, but that was on me. That wasn't on them. I did not realize I've got a bunch of relays for air assist, and I guess I was in a hurry. I don't know what I was doing, but apparently I paired a 12 volt relay with a 24 volt machine, and it caused the little board to overheat and become a heat casualty. But Klein doesn't really care for automatic air because he runs it all the time anyway, which most of the time I do. And so he's like, well, I'll take it until you get it fixed and I'll run it. And I put the longer back in here because it had, it's still operational. But since then, I have made absolutely sure that I double check my voltages before I connect a relay to them. Clang, yes, I do take my machines to shows. That's where I make most of my money. I sell some pre-made stuff, but the majority of the money that I make at shows is because I do stuff on site, and so people can come up and go, hey, my dog's name is this, and I can never find a tag for his collar. Can you make one? And my answer, of course, is absolutely. And they will tell me what the dog's name is, and of course I'll write it down. Sometimes they pay ahead of time, sometimes they wait till they get back. But yeah, that's how that goes. And I thought I put a picture up of my last event at May. I did. There they are. So, I'll show you exactly what my setup looks like. So this is kind of from the side. This is those are little dog tags. Those are some ready-made. Most of those are like patriotic things. I've got some bottle openers, just kind of humorous drinking humor. Some of them basically just say, a good day fishing or, whatever. You don't want to always like have all these geared towards drinking alcohol because not everybody drinks alcohol. But people that do drink alcohol, if they see something funny on a bottle opener, they'll buy it. So just keep that in mind. And then I had some very limited inventory left over from last year, and because of my back injury, guys, I didn't really have a chance to bulk my inventory up. Yep, that is me, Miss Brenda, and of course May. But the machine stays in there. Inside that enclosure right there that I built on the table is an X-Tool D1 20 watt. I've got air assist on it. I've got a Comgrow smoke eater connected to it. You can see a little bit better there. And everything's contained in that enclosure. And this table basically is built like a wheelbarrow. You can see it's got wheels on this end. And so I roll it in the back of I've got a box trailer that I load it into and take it to events. I've got a monitor up here, and that is for when I'm doing fonts and, letting them select a font. People can see what font I'm choosing rather than having to walk around to the back side of the table. So I try to keep everybody, the public, up here. But this thing does have 3 pieces of laser safe glass. Got one there, and then one on the back side where I can see what's going on inside. So, but that is the setup that I run. So there you go. Now the machines really don't heat the shop up. If anything, they cool it down, because this one machine right here, I do not have it externally ventilated, and I've got the S1 running, and it's not externally. It doesn't have an external intake. Now my big enclosure has a 4-inch air intake from outside, so it doesn't really affect heating and cooling in here. But the other 2 machines are basically blowing air out and sucking it from inside the shop. So, but it's really not that cold down here right now. I know this thing didn't just finish. Yes, it did. Let me go get this one swapped out. And the H'er's about to finish. So let me reload some machines, guys. Hang on. Had to feed them. All right, the H'er's still going. Because of the work area of the H'er, I'm actually able to do 2 full sets in there. So I've actually got 6 pieces being cut out. And the top one has to be engraved. So I've got 6 pieces like this with the holes in the center and everything being cut out in the H'er. Whereas I'm doing 2 pieces each burn on these small pieces of material in the S1 and the longer. The longer has a big enough work area that it could do 3 wide, but like I said, the material, when I chop the material down to make pieces for the big enclosure, this is what's left over, and I'm trying to burn through this because I got a bunch of these laying around. So I'm using that up because I normally save it for like ornaments or something, but I'm generating so many of those, doing like 10 sheets of plywood every time, that I'm trying to use them up as well. Steve, I think well, I do know that the X tool and the Z1, because I had a Z1, the end of the one that I had the exact same setup as far as the lens as the H or the Atom Stack and the X tool. And the reason I know that, if you remember, I stole X tool air assist cone and run it on the longer here recently. And so all of those machines are the same, and I have a Comgrow air assist. Well, wait a minute. I had to go back and look. But I've got a Comgrow. The air assist was made by Comgrow, but I think it was made for the X tool. So I can't say for sure on that. I have to look at mine, but I don't have it with me. I can go back and look at some of my videos and might be able to tell. Farm company, basically, in case you're not familiar with my background, I've been in law enforcement for 23 years, a little bit, 23 and some change. And during that career, I have been ran into by two drunks, rear-ended. I wrecked a car one time going to a burglary / home invasion, and had a wreck running faster than I probably should have. That should have probably killed me, but it didn't. I was on a SWAT team for a number of years and did stuff, wore gear, running in full kit and all that, doing things that I probably shouldn't have been doing. And I played football when I was in high school. And I've just lived a rough life. And all I know, guys, is it's 48 years of hard living just wore my back out. And, there's no telling how many times, wrestling with people or chasing people through the woods. I also run a canine, and so I do man tracks. And during those man tracks, most of which are in the middle of the night, I have tripped, I have fell, I have, stepped off in gullies, and just too much use. And I had bulging discs, and I knew that I had bulging discs, but it progressively got worse to the point where one of them ruptured and pinned my sciatic nerve and had it basically it literally disabled me because I couldn't do nothing until they did the surgery. And then when I woke up from surgery, it has consistently gotten better, and I'm about almost 4 weeks out from surgery now, and no pain. I got a little soreness still, but no pain. Hang on, I got to reload the big machine now. See that? And I got to figure out what I can make with these. I'm generating a bunch of these too. All right. All right, I got the 8s back going. Yeah, if you'll measure the cone and send it to, yeah, okay, he got it. But I can't remember. I had a Comgrow, and I think I even did a video on how to clean it. Well, Terry, I would really love to share it with you guys, but unfortunately, it's a product that I'm collaborating with May over at May Made It. Y'all may know her. She does paper crafting, but I'm collaborating on a little product for her, and it's kind of a surprise thing that she's gonna unveil. She had an idea, and she asked me if I could come up with something to accomplish a certain task, and so I kind of looked at what she was wanting to do, and I came up with a design while I was at her open house working the other day. It's kind of slowed down Saturday, and so I came up with a design in my head, and I sat out front at the Tamitha. You can't be telling people But I sat out front at the event and designed it, and I had to prototype it a few times and make some tweaks and adjustments. And I came up with a pretty good prototype. And then, of course, as it always does, it got a few more improvements. And I got home, I made a couple of more changes, and finally we came up with what we think is going to be a good product that her folks are going to enjoy and like. And it's a cool build, but it is very time consuming. Like I said, I got a pretty good little stack of them over there on top of the We Create so far, of the parts, but I still got to put them together and glue them up, sand them, seal them, the whole 9 yards. So, but I've got a deadline, so she's put me on like a 2-week deadline. So that's why I'm out here every night so far this week, cranking them out. And last night I had other people scheduled to come by and get work done. So tonight's the first night that I've actually been able to get started at a reasonable hour. And even tonight I had to go pick up 10 sheets of plywood after work and rip it down, and that's why I got all this plywood laying here. I'm hoping that that'll get used up, because all of my little storage bins are full. I have nowhere to store it where I would normally store it. So I figure between tonight and tomorrow night that the pile of big panels will be used up. The smaller ones I'm using in the X-Tool S1 and this machine to use them up. So hopefully it'll work out. But that's about it, guys. I really wish I'd have brought me a gallon of tea out here. So Brandy, if you're watching, my tea glass, it's empty. And Steve will make fun of me if I leave him go get tea. Wait a minute. I forget. I do got water in the refrigerator. Oh, by the way, Steve. Yeah, you got me a boom for my mic so I can get it away from that enclosure over there so y'all can hear me and not the lasers. Ah. Yeah, Dale, the problem I had with this one is I had to use the material that I was going to make it with in the end, because the thickness of the material would have caused a variation in the design and caused it not to work. I have a lot of 1/8 inch material that I use to kind of prototype with, but in this particular situation, it might have worked with 1/8 inch material, and then when I moved it over to 1/4 inch, it wouldn't work. I did use 1/8 inch to get the sizes of the holes that I needed right, but for the way that it works, and I'll do a video and show you guys what it is once May releases it, but we've agreed that she's going to release it, not me. She didn't say I couldn't build a little suspense around it for her, but she's going to release it and not me. So, but it's going to be cool. I think folks are going to like it. I'm going to try to make sure I'm in that live. So Tamitha, I know you'll know when she's going to do that. So you need to make sure you send me an email or something. And Tamitha there works with May, so she's got all the inside scoop. But Terry, it's just a project. It's just some wood. It's a very simple file. Well, it's not very simple, but it's pretty simple. All right, the X-Tool's still going. Man, these guys are putting in the work today. Yep. And part of the problem with this one too was the size of this thing. Prototyping burned through some material. I think I used like 8 sheets of the small 16 by 16s while I was up there trying to get it ready. Just ordered the 8-ser and extension. Oh, you're gonna like that. Uh-oh, hang on. Let me give it to you here. There you go. Ha ha. Yeah, you'll like it. I'm running the 8-ser V35. I don't know if you got the 20 or the V35, but I ran the 20 for close to a year. And I was trying to move up because of these cutout projects. It just takes a little less time. So I went up to the 35 in this enclosure. My P20 is still hanging right there because in the event that the V35 goes down, I can literally unplug it, lift it out, drop the P20 in there, plug it up, and go right back to work without having to change anything. So, and when I depend on these machines the way that I do, it's good to have backups, even if they're not as powerful. So, nice. But yes, for some of y'all that know Klein, by the way, I don't know if y'all saw my post or not, but he actually went to his first event. Vic Havens Laser Community Group. There you go, Vic, if you're in here. I just approved you. But Klein did his first event the other day, and my thing is with events, especially when I first started out, was my goal was not to go and try to make a bunch of money. My goal was to go, learn what I could about events, and try not to lose money as far as gas. I wanted to make enough to pay for my gas, pay for my lunch, and any incidentals that I had to have, and just learn from it. But if you're doing your first event, if it is your first event, I don't know if it is or not, but engage people, talk to them, be their friend. People that think you're friendly will buy from you quicker than people that think you're just, dry. But yeah, I think you'll like the P20. Did you get the 20 or the 35, Pedro or Padre? I gotta move my coaster. It's on the other side of my mic. Believe it or not, guys, I got a Clack Shack coaster. It's a tile. It's reversible. It's a reversible Clack Shack coaster. This side, logo. This side, not the logo. So I can reverse it if I get tired looking at one side or the other. Whew. Then I can't see my screen. I'm just got everything messed up with this mic. The P20, yeah, the P20 is a good machine. Like I said, I ran mine for over a year. Now I will tell you, if you don't run air assist or if you have water in your air assist, you may want to go ahead and get with Steve and grab you a few extra lenses to have on hand just in case. I didn't have a problem with mine for a long time, but then I had air compressor issues, and it was spitting water into the air assist, and ended up that water interacted with the laser enough that it actually wound up chipping a couple of my lenses, and I had to swap them out. I've got a new air compressor now, guys, and it seems to be doing the trick. It's much quieter, and so far my water separators are not collecting a whole lot of water. Yeah, Dale, I got it, and I learned a lesson tonight that in order to do 1/4-inch plywood, you have to use the very top slide in the riser. I have the riser, and I've got to get a video on it, but I'm playing catch up right now, so it's going to have to wait for at least for me to get a break. I've got the riser in, and I've got the RA2 Pro, which I'm not doing a whole lot of tumblers, so I may just have to make a couple of tumblers for myself just to demonstrate it. So we'll see. But I'm going to try to get another video out with it. I've got one more machine that's ahead of the riser that I got to do, and it's that little blue thing over my shoulder right there, which is a 10-watt diode Galvo laser that I've got it. I've been using it, playing with it, and I got to do a video on it. And then once I get that done, next thing that I'm going to do is going to be the video on the S1 with the riser and what kind of capabilities that brings. Because it technically, even now, it technically has a pass-through. But because both sides of it open. Now, the way I've got it set up, you couldn't really put anything long in there. But I don't have the power feed, but technically now I could put something that is bigger than the frame of the machine in there, engrave it, and move on. So that's probably how I would, one of the things that I'm going to point out in the video that I do is that even without the power slide, if you have something that is bigger than the workspace, you can engrave on it. Say if you had a long piece of wood or something that you wanted. So Good deal, Aaron. Good deal there. But yeah, that's one. Like I said, I haven't got to use it as much as I'd like, but I have been using it on some jobs because I don't like doing a review. Just especially on a machine this expensive and this big, which I know X-Tool makes good stuff, but I wanna figure out what all of the pros and cons of the machine are, and so that's why I'm like working it into most every job that I've done here lately. I've tried to run what I could on it. Now some of the designs, some of the things that I make are too big. I can't use it for them, but it works. And the toilet paper filter. Whoa, I missed something. I missed something there, Dale. Uh, Not sure what you talking about there. Hmm. But hey, hobo, what's up, man? How are you, Steve? Now that I can remember what your name is, because it's just like the other Steve. Uh, yeah. Now, hobo, I'm not gonna lie to you. That is a really good possibility that yeah, I could take that box off of my enclosure, off of my table, and use it for my portable shack because I do like that 360-degree panoramic view that they have. That's pretty awesome. There's a couple of other machines I've seen that do that, but I don't have one of those yet either. So, but I have considered it because my little redneck enclosure works, but it would look much smoother if I had something like that, and I could even like build me a little jig on there. Steve is his name. He said his name is Steve as well. I didn't know that. I just knew it was hobo. Used to work on Ladurna printers. Did not like water. Oh, okay. I got you. Yeah, lasers don't like water either, especially not sprayed up on the lens or if water vapor begins to collect inside that lens. Uh, it doesn't do good things. I can promise you, been there, done that. Luckily, my buddy Steve over at Ventari's workshop, I had got a pack of his replacement lenses just to try them out, just to see how well they worked. And I'll be doggone if I didn't wind up using them. I think, and matter of fact, I've got to get online and order some more, Steve. I think last night I went ahead and replaced the one in this machine because it had just a little bit of, I mean, it wasn't chipped, but it had a little shadowing on it where this other air compressor just gave me crap. And so I went ahead and changed it out, and I am down to one extra lens that I got from you. So I'll be hitting you up on Etsy, getting some more of those lenses. That's what I'm running right now in the V35. Is I'm running the Ventari's workshop lens, and it's cutting fine. Been running it all night last night. I probably need to clean the machines. I run it all night last night and tonight with a Ventari's workshop lens. Yeah, the Rolly looks interesting. Of course, I'd have to have it in here for a little while and play with it. Uh, I don't remember what the work size. I think aren't they, Steve? Aren't they? Whichever Steve. Aren't they close to 400 by 400, or is it like 420 by 420? I don't remember. But it's a cool looking machine. Oh, I'm gonna tell you guys, this longer is ripping. I mean, it is doing a good job. I'm really tempted to see if they'll send me a 40 watt. Other than their air assist, if they can fix their air assist cone, which I fixed it for them, 410 by 390. That's especially for events. That's plenty because I don't do anything big at events. Uh oh, gotta feed the machine. All right, I'm gonna change this machine around now because I've done cut 2 or 3 of the front 2 pieces. So I'm gonna change it around and make it cut 2 or 3 of the back pieces. Make sure I got my wood in there right. Oh yeah, I'm good. That camera's been being dead on. Now this burn's not going to take as long because this one I got going now, it actually doesn't have any holes in it. Yes, Keith, I have, and you can't see it, but I have a Monport K40 or M40, I guess is what they call it, 40 watt CO2 over there that I use. Now it's a highly modified Monport M40, so don't, if you go buy one, yours isn't going to look like mine out of the box. But if you go to my content on my channel and just search for keyword Monport, you should find the videos, because I try to always, even if it's a project video, I try to mention the name of the machine in the title so that it's searchable, so that if you have that machine, you can look for it specifically. Dale, it would work for some stuff, but I don't think it would work as good as a square-bodied machine, because I do actually make keychains, small signs. I engrave bamboo cutting boards, and of course my bamboo cutting boards are like 9.5 inches by 15 or 16 inches. So it wouldn't do everything that I wanted. So no, I wouldn't. I mean, it would do great for like the dog tags, the anodized bottle openers and stuff like that, but it wouldn't be able to do everything. And if I'm going to carry a machine and have it powered up, I want it to be able to do everything that I do at events. So I would have to say probably on the F1, probably not. Because like, let me show you the cutting boards. Because like, these are my generic bamboo cutting boards that I do. And this would be a challenge to try to get this much. I mean, and this is a small design compared to a lot of them. A lot of my designs fill up the whole thing because it's like measurements and stuff like that. And I sell a lot of these custom at events because people will be like, well, my name is, you know, whatever that you've never heard of, and I can never find anything with my name on it. Could you take a cutting board and put our name on it? And I'm like, well, absolutely, if you got 10 minutes to wait. And I knock them out there at the event. And that's how I'm able to sell stuff when, even if there's somebody else there that does laser engraving, sometimes they'll walk over and be like, why is everybody at your booth? But it's twofold, because while I'm making this, generally the person is going to be sitting there watching the laser work, and people are nosy. All right, people in public in general, all of us, and me included, are nosy. If I see somebody over there and they're looking down at this thing and they're just staring at it really, really hard, I'm like, what are they looking at? And so then somebody else is going to walk up. So when I'm doing these custom projects and that person's standing there for 10 minutes waiting on this to finish and watching it, a lot of times I'll wind up with a crowd because everybody's like, what's that person looking at? Let me go see what they're looking at. And then when they get over there and see what I can do, they're like, hey, how much can I get one of those for? And so it also helps with getting more customers, getting their attention, getting people to hang out around your booth, because if your booth looks like the happening place, people are going to come check it out. So another little tip for you guys that do events. I just realized that I have not changed the speed on the longer, and now that I've got my regular wood in there, I can. So I'm fixing to up my speed since I got rid of that other stuff. I don't know what that other wood was made out of, guys, but man, it was tough. I thought I was going to have to break out the CNC to cut it. Going from diode to CO2, the only real big difference, unless you get up into the big CO2s where you can change out, your last lens or whatever to give you a longer or shorter focal point. The only real big difference is CO2 does, yeah, that's right, Steve. CO2 does clear stuff, and diodes will not. So if you're used to doing clear acrylic, you're not going to be able to do that on the diode. Uh, Diodes, to me, have a unique versatility in being that, like, if you have something that's already built, like a table or something, and you want to engrave it, you can do it without having to have a massive machine. You can literally just set up a jig and set the machine on top of the table and engrave it. So I think that diodes, in that aspect, have an advantage. CO2s, however, the mechanics of it being fully enclosed, I mean, there's some pros to them as well. Yeah, Jack. I mean, we're all nosy. I mean, that is human nature to be nosy. Now, some are worse than others, but we're all nosy to an extent. But yeah, Steve's over on Twitch. Look at that. I didn't. My first comment from Twitch. I've never seen a Twitch comment come across. That's cool. But yeah. But now Dale, Steve over at Victoria's Workshop, of course, he has an F1. If you're looking at it and want to see what it can do, he's did a couple of videos with his. And like I said, for what its intended purpose for doing small things, from what he's told me and from what I've seen of his videos, it does a good job for what it is. But a lot of these machines, like I said, they have a very unique application, in my opinion. But that's just, like I said, it's just me. And a lot of people tell you you can't run business with diodes, but I guess it just depends on your idea of a business. Oh, wait a minute. Sounds like the longer is done. Now these panels here are the very back, and so there's not any engraving. So the longer is going to be cranking these guys out fast. It's not that it's that much faster than the rest of the machines. They have engraves on their jobs, and this one doesn't. So. Oh, I missed something there, Keith. Uh, uh, Ricky, I'm not going to say there's not a way, but I am not aware. Once the way these machines work, they they pretty much send all the data to the machine as soon as you hit start. And so you really, no matter what you do on the screen, it doesn't resend the file. So it's, even though you changed it in Lightburn, it's not going to apply until the next time you run it. So that's, now I'm not saying there's not a way to force it, but from my experience, no, there's not really a way. Wow. Thank you, Brian. Awesome. Uh, you're amazed that we can run lasers at our events. Why is that, Joseph? I could actually run 2 or 3 of them if I had them, but typically one's all I need. I don't know that I'd be interesting inserting oxygen into a laser cut. That could be very bad. Could be very, very bad. Especially if it like pooled somewhere and then all of a sudden it all went at one time. Due to safety, well, I mean, yeah, I would be safe with it, but God bless America. So they tell you can't run. Oh, yeah. Well, we can. stuff like that is it's really up to each venue whether or not they want it or allow it. But as long as it's safe and you don't have anything unsafe that they deem unsafe, each person, like each event you go to, I mean, they may say, "Hey, we don't want it here," but as far as the government themselves, they don't get into that I'm aware of. But yeah, huh? Well, don't know. But yeah, I mean, I would definitely make sure it was safe. And if somebody showed up with something that was really really sketchy, I probably would be very leery of it. But but yeah, huh? Yeah. Well, I mean, how about if you had the machine like completely obstructed from public view, which mine's not completely obstructed, but I mean, you can't see it unless you look at it through uh, the glass, and even then, you're looking at it at an angle. There's no way to really. I mean, and I don't do mirrors or anything like that at events, so I don't know, but yeah, they don't. Like I said, I've never had an issue with it. Good Lord, not even in a trailer. Man, that is. Mm. Because one of these days when I retire, I've actually thought about getting me like a food truck type thing and set it up with some lasers in it. Yeah, Dale, that's kind of the way I am. Can you even let people come in your shop? I mean, I do have a sign on my door when you come in the shop that says, lasers can damage your eyes. Do not look at lasers, blah blah blah, or whatever. But I don't have a whole lot of people over here, and when I do, I'm typically not running. Well, I say that sometimes I'm running machines, but all my machines have laser glass in them, and I have extra pairs of glasses also if needed. But I don't have a whole lot of people in here generally, unless it's like last night. I had somebody wanted to burn. Yeah, well, Steve, it wasn't here when you came. I actually did have one, but I don't know if you saw it because it was kind of under the table. But it's on my door. It's made out of that black and white acrylic that I bought that I can engrave with diodes. I would show you, but it's over there on the door. And on my enclosure also, I have like little signs, laser in use, blah, blah, blah. But, that's really not going to help you if anything was to happen. Prove it didn't happen at your place. I don't even think we ran a laser while you were here, Steve. I mean, that's an idea, Joseph. I mean, there's plenty of events, and they're always wanting people to come with lasers because I get invited to a lot of them, and I just don't have time to do that many right now. All right. Frame it up, make sure. I got good at laying that in exactly the same spot. Oh, yeah, we did do the crawler. I forgot about that. Oh, I forgot about that. I still got that thing. I don't ever use it. Yeah, I would say definitely in the wintertime for sure. Cause like Steve's up there in southern Canada, and it gets really cold up there. So I can imagine if a few miles north, it would be really really cold. Tattoos are in now. V what? I missed it. I missed something. Oh, well, I'm still on the other wood right now. So I forgot to change the Acer too, but I'm still using that. I got one more piece of that really hard material before I can swap back to my good stuff, which I got a big pile of the good stuff right there. Nah, Steve's in Minnesota. Well, thank you, Andy. I appreciate it. Welcome. Welcome aboard. I'll give you a. There you go. Thank you for coming. Uh, Thank you for stopping by. Not a whole lot going on. Just out here working. And I get bored. Don't have anybody to talk to except for the cats. So figured I'd power it up, maybe answer some questions if y'all had any, and I could demonstrate it or whatever. I've got 3 machines going right now. So I do have to step away occasionally to go reload the machines. And I think the S1, let me go check the S1. I got to get it closer. Okay, it'll be done in a minute. It's working on the last cut, I think. So, yeah. Joseph, you know, your first time as well. All right, womp womp. There you go. Yeah, it's what was the name of that thing? I can't remember the name of it, but it's like a big massive box, but it's got a 10-watt laser built into it, and it would literally, you could engrave your hallway with it because it has rollers in it. It just crawls and engraves as it goes. The only problem I had with it was making sure that it would go in a straight line. Svor's, SVORWR or something. Got to go reload the S1. Give me a minute. I want to tell you one thing that I'm really thankful that they did for the S1 is the fact that I can reload it, hit the button on the outside, and it runs it again. I don't have to go to the software. I like that. Somebody asked me what's the working size of the S1. Let me see. Well, I'll show you this. Let me pull a light burn up because I don't remember all the work areas of these things, and I'm terrible with numbers. If you haven't watched the channel much, you'll learn that I'm terrible with numbers. So let me pull up my light burn configuration and look and see what device settings says it is. It's 498 wide by 318 deep. I really wish they'd have made it 400 deep, but whatever. It's not terrible. It's just under 12 inches, or well, no. It's over 12 inches, but it's just under the size of the frames that I made for the 12-inch mirrors the other day. So I've got some 10-inch mirrors coming, and I'm going to retool my design and make a 10-inch version, and probably include it with the other one just for the guys that have different size machines, or I don't know if I'll add it to a separate one. Hold on, longer's through again. All right, that's enough of those empty ones. So I'm gonna put 200-pound dog. Sounds like your dog's gonna walk you, Terry. Uh, Longer has cut quite a few of the blanks, so I'm gonna put it back to engraving so it'll slow down a little bit. So I'm gonna do the engraved panels, and make sure I got it in there right. Oh, Steve's your channel's birthday? Well, how old is your birthday? Is it as old as you are? That's pretty old. Everybody saying happy birthday to Steve's channel. Happy birthday, dear Steve. Your channel's older than you are? That ain't good. Ricky Little. Lake. Oh, cool. Well, yeah, that's pretty close as compared to Canada and what is it? Canada, Japan, Australia. Dang it! There's a couple of other places this people are farther off. That's right, everybody. Happy birthday to Steve. And if you're new to my channel and you haven't met Steve's channel yet, guys, go check him out. Steve is my buddy, and we work together and collaborate on a lot of stuff. If you haven't checked out our Sunday night lives, we actually do a live show where it's me and Steve answering questions for folks and just hanging out, chilling, and talking about. I mean, I'm not gonna lie to you. We try to stay with lasers and CNCs, but we do go down the rabbit hole on other stuff sometimes. Whether we're making fun of Steve and his cold weather, or just talking junk, talking weather. You never know. You never know what you're gonna get. It's it's kind of like
my mom always said life was like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. So yeah, but there's a link to it if you're not familiar. Go check him out. But like I said, we collaborate on a lot of stuff. He's a pretty good dude. Like I said, he's not considering he's not from the South. We have a lot in common. He's a little shorter than I am, but other than that. Well, I appreciate it there, Greg. So you got your, I think yours was the one that had the pointer. You're using the X tool and your pointer was off. It'll get you every time. I really wish there was a way you could, like when you turned that off or on, it would automatically fix it, but there's not. Yeah, he before all of this, he was actually into a lot of aircraft stuff, so that doesn't surprise me. But yeah, Greg, sometimes it's really simple stuff, and it's not always as obvious as we would like for it to be. And all it takes is either to not know of a setting or to accidentally click the wrong setting, and it'll drive you bonkers trying to figure out what's causing it. And luckily, like I said, I've made all of those mistakes myself. And so when people ask me, I remember the mistakes that I made and what I had to do to fix it. So it's not that I'm that smart, guys. I make that many mistakes that I've made most all of them already and figured out how to fix them. Because in 2 years of basically doing what I'm doing tonight, running these machines, designing files, almost every night that I'm off, when I'm off work. It's been a lot of mistakes made. Learned a lot, but I made a lot of mistakes. H's wrapping up over there, guys. That thing's cutting out. It's cutting out all 3 panels, and it's cutting out 2 complete units. So it's actually cutting out 6 panels at a time, where I've got these other machines doing 2. And I would have the longer doing more, larger panels, but like I said, I'm trying to burn through this small scrap right here, because I've got a whole shelf full of the small stuff. Well, I thought it was about done. It's actually still got one more in the middle to go. But yeah, but that's it, guys. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, I do a lot of these little pop-up lives when I'm just out here. So if you got questions and you want to ask me, it's a good time to do it. Also, I get a lot of questions across my Etsy shop, and I don't mind that as much. But if I'm a little late answering a question on Etsy because I'm working, or because I'm sick or out of town or whatever, Etsy gives me bad scores for that. So if possible, if you need to message me, please use my Facebook page, the Kallax Shack on Facebook. Make sure to go follow, like, share, all that cool stuff. It's a very small page compared to my YouTube channel, but it's a lot better if you guys use that to message me. Because like I said, if I'm a little delayed, if I've got family going on, or it's a holiday or something, and I'm the next day or so responding back to your question, it doesn't negatively affect my rating on Etsy, because a lot of people look at those ratings. Yeah, actually, I do have a little, I guess, I don't know if I call it a sled, but I think it's technically a sleigh. But mine's a very simple file, because it was one that I used to show folks how to make a file. But it's in a pack with some other Christmas ornaments to kind of sweeten the deal for you. And I'll send you a link for that. And if you didn't know I had an Etsy shop, this would be a good time to remind you that I do have an Etsy shop by the same name as the channel and the Facebook page. But that is my Etsy shop right there, and that's the link to that 2023 Christmas ornament set that I did recently. And there's a video also that kind of goes through there and shows you how I made them and all that cool stuff. So I try to, not only do I sell the files, guys, but I try to teach you guys how to make them. If you make a decision that you don't want to sit down and spend the time to build your own file and you want to buy mine, I greatly appreciate that. It helps pay for the light bill and blanks to do videos. It is a sled? Okay. Yeah, I guess it is a sled. A sleigh is what Santa rides on, right? Yeah. We don't have those here, so I don't know what they look like. But yeah, I guess that would be a sled. A sleigh would be more what Santa Claus rides on. But yeah, but that's the whole topic. And the reason, and people ask me all the time, how did you get your YouTube channel started? And guys, it was an accident. I didn't mean to have a YouTube channel. I needed a way to send videos to people to learn how to do things when they asked me questions. And I started making videos to do that. And it just grew, like, over a period of time. Frank, I am biased on cameras. I use one. Matter of fact, I got a brand new one in. So I can show you what it is. I buy these on Amazon. They're like, don't make me lie. These are the same ones. I buy them all the time. Let me look here. This one just got delivered a day or two ago. I'm trying to figure out how to put this in the X-Tool S1. That's why I got it. I don't know that I'm going to be successful, but between the 3D printer and the laser and all the other tools in the shop, I think it's possible, but I want to do so without defacing my machine if I can, by using some type of adhesive or something. But they didn't give me a whole lot of clearance in there to work with without drilling a hole in the cover. So I don't know that I'm going to do it right now. But this is a 180-degree fisheye board camera. And I use them for light burn as well as other things. They have a flat lens as well, but this is what you get. Now I have a laser cut file that I've designed that you can use with these things, and I also have a 3D printed mount that you can use with them to put them in your enclosures. Uh, I also use the flat lens ones as observation cameras inside my enclosures. So I'll show you this real quick. That is actually a flat lens one that I have. that that camera is basically just so that when I'm doing a video, I can show you guys what's going on in there, and also so that if I don't want to look over there and see if the burn is done, I can just look up at the top of the screen and see what's going on inside the enclosure. So, but I'll drop a link to these in here if you're interested. I can tell you they work great with light burn. One thing to remember, guys, cameras in light burn, you're going to get really, if you calibrate it right and you calibrate it well and it's stationary and nothing moves, you're going to get pretty good accuracy out of the camera, but always frame just in case to make sure that the camera is not variating on you. Hang on, I got to reload the 8er. That is a big file. All right. Let me see here and start again. All right. Customer wants a vector graphic text on wood. Is it just if it's just a black and white, like a solid burn vector, then I mean any one of those wood's going to work. Now keep in mind oak is going to have the most dominating grain in that. Poplar is probably going to give you, especially if you got a good smooth piece of poplar that doesn't have any knots in it, poplar is probably going to give you less grain appeal to it. Some people don't like seeing the grain in wood. Me personally, it's wood, it's going to have grain, but I don't see what the big deal is. But the poplar would probably be the best, especially if you're going to go with a light finish, because poplar's wood, it looks really good, lightly stained, and it'll make the engrave show up a little better. Whew. But yeah, I'm gonna let this one last big one over here finish, and whenever it finishes, guys, I'm gonna call it a night because I gotta go back to work in the morning. And as much as I enjoy being out here, I do have to get some sleep for work. I won't be falling asleep at my desk tomorrow. That'd be bad. So, check this machine. I guess tomorrow night I'm going to be putting some of these together instead of sitting here, because hopefully I got to get started on putting them together. I got a pretty good little stack over there. All those are the pieces for it. Well, I'll show you what poplar looks like. Yeah. Now this is Alabama poplar, but yeah, right there. If you want it black, you would probably have to raise the focus up a little bit. It this is this is kind of the darker colors. Hang on, I've got some pop. Hang on, I do got it. It's more popular. Hang on. There you go. That is poplar also, but you can notice it has a wide variety of the level of char based on speed and power. So yes, you can make poplar really black, but you're going to have to go really hot and kind of slow. But it does turn black. So when I did that image, basically what I did was I figured out what color I wanted my darkest to be, and that's what I set my power for on that image. But that is poplar. This is oak, and you can see the grain. That's what I'm saying. You're gonna have a lot more grain interference depending on the wood that you get. Some of the plywoods, if you're wanting to use a plywood, this is that Lowe's plywood that I bought, and I did a video on it. You can just search Lowe's in my videos, but it done a pretty good job. So if it's plywood that you're looking for, might be a bad idea. And this is some of that. This is some more Lowe's plywood. It's really white, like it's primed or something, I think somebody said. But it did really good at contrasting. But it's got like a white coating on it. And of course, pine. And you can see the grain in the pine too. But you're gonna get grain if you're using like wood for the most part. Some are just a little more dominant than others. Yeah, Joseph, I'm glad to be back at work. So, the paycheck keeps coming, of course. But the last week of my medical outage was actually pretty cool because I was able to get out here in the shop and do stuff with limitations. So the last week wasn't terrible, but yeah, I'm ready to get back and just do my job until the time to where I can retire, and then I'm going to leave for good, maybe. We'll see. White, I think if you're talking about, when you say whiteboard, I think you're talking about like maybe that white pine they sell at like Home Depot and places. I haven't done a whole lot of that. Yeah, basswood engraves pretty well. It's just depends on how thick a piece of wood that you're needing. Well, don't you need to set your goals higher than that because I just I just get out here and play until I figure out what works for me. And when I figure out what works for me, yeah, I think that's what they call that, is that blonde wood plywood. That white stuff that I had, I think that's what that said on the sticker. I put the name of it in the video and in the link in the description, but I think they called that blonde wood plywood or something like that. But it has, if you sand it, I will tell you that coating comes off. But yeah, I've got some. I don't do a lot with basswood, but I've got some that I use for testing occasionally. Most of my projects I do. This stuff here, I get 4x8 sheets. I bought 10 of them today, and it was $15 per sheet for a 4x8 sheet. And I broke them down, and I get, I get a whole bunch. That's like a third of what I got out of 10 sheets for the big machine, and then I about used all of the small pieces. I've got a bunch of them stacked up down here in my rack, but I get lots of wood, and for $15 for a 4x8 sheet, I mean, it's really economical. And if it works for the projects that I'm doing, I try to use it exclusively. even if I have one occasionally messes up on me, which I don't generally have, the material cost is much better. All right, hang on, got to reload the longer. Had a snag on this one. Cheap plywood. All right. Uh, it's usually 4.5. Hang on. Okay, this is a little thicker. It's 4.75. So, 4.75 inches. It's a little thicker than what I was getting. So they've changed up on me a couple of times. You saw the cut test I did. I use a honeycomb spaced up. I usually space my honeycombs 3/8 of an inch or so above the like backsplash, the little metal panel. I run air assist. Now I am running regulated air supplies off my shop air, and I've got it regulated at around 10 psi. I kind of dial it in and just watch the cut until I get a smooth, clean cut, and that's where I set the air pressure. But I'm running air shop air on both of these. The X2 is running its factory little pump. Hang on. Yep, X2 still going. I think I'm gonna have to maximize that file. The only thing I've found so far that I don't like about XCS is I can't rotate, or at least I hadn't figured out how to do it. I need to rotate the angle of approach from a laser on some of these the cuts, and I can do that in Lightburn, but I have not figured out how to do that in Creative Space. I'm gonna try to work on that, because the way this file is, I have one engraved that runs this way and then one that runs this way to eliminate white space. I also, on Lightburn, I can remove overlapping lines, and in XCS apparently it is not, because the longer is cranking them out a little faster than the X tool. See, but it's because it's running on Lightburn versus XCS, I believe. So I may need to swap the X tool over to Lightburn for this job tomorrow. But yeah, guys, like I said, if you, read it. Depends on what you're looking for. There's a lot of good machines out there. I'm not sold out to any one brand. I've had really good luck with X Tools products. Some of them I like better than others. I think they make a solid product if what you're wanting fits what that machine is, kind of intended for. I also like my Acer. My V35 is kind of a it's a beast. I like it. It's got a large work area, 430 by 850 on the Acer V35 extended. I like my the longer that I'm running right now. I like it, which I've had the Algo in here. I've had Atom Stack A30. I've had Acer L24, Creality Falcon 2. I mean, I've had a bunch of different machines. Some of them I like better than others. One thing that I do like about the longer right out of the box, no extensions. The machine is 450 by 440, and that's a massive work area for a diode laser. This one's a 30 watt, and it cuts really well. I don't want to say for sure, but I feel like the 30 watt longer actually may cut faster than the V35, which it may just be in my head, but it seems that way. I get better speeds out of it. Seems like maybe a millimeter a second more out of the longer than I do my V35. And I just found out that Longer now makes an extension kit for the B1, which will extend it to 450 by 850, I think it was, or 430. Yeah, it was 450 by 850. So that's got my curiosity piqued. And they also offered a 40 watt module. So Longer, if you're watching, 40 watt Longer wouldn't be a bad idea. Faster with a Z-axis for curved glass. How big a workspace are you needing? The Z-axis with curved materials, you're going to be very limited because one, if you're doing curved materials, you're going to have to run either XCS or, well, I guess XCS is about the only one that does curved materials. And it has a Z-axis, so I mean the S1 might be what you want. It does have a Z-axis, and they say, I haven't done it yet, that you can do curved objects with it through the mapping. I've watched the videos. It seems fairly simple, especially if you're batching them out. But it's to be able to do curved stuff and have a power Z-axis, you're looking at the S1's probably going to be about the only machine right now that I'm aware of in the diode arena that would be capable of doing that. If you just want to do like wine glasses and stuff like that, you want something for rotaries, you may want to take a gander at the We Create. It's a smaller machine, but it's all encompassing. It does come with a built-in rotary, and it's a 20 watt diode. It's not necessarily going to be faster than a 20 watt X-Tool D1, but it does a really good job on rotary type stuff. So, but yeah. So you might want to look at it if rounded, because if you're doing round, if you're doing tumblers or glasses or something like that, you really just need a chuck. You get you a chuck and go for it there. And like I said, the We Create does a good job. Now, the X-Tool, I'm sure, would do a good job as well. Whew. That's going to be a minute. That's a big file. I should have probably just went ahead and called it. It's going to be late. But there's a lot of machines, and I try not to go all in with any of the companies because, every company, I'm a Ford guy. I drive Ford trucks. But Ford has made some really crappy vehicles in their career or in their time. And you can literally buy two Ford trucks off of the assembly line, one behind the other, and have two totally different user experiences with the two trucks. Same thing goes with basically everything. Any machine that is made by people, there's potentially going to be issues with it. And so I don't like to just push machines, because if one of you guys buys a machine and then you have an issue, you're going to be like, oh, you told me it was the best machine ever. And I can only speak from my experiences with these machines. If I tell you I like the Longer or it has done me a good job, you may buy one and it break the first week. I really have no way of knowing how well yours is going to work. I just try to speak from my experience with these different machines. I don't even know what a Glen Carney glass is. Multiple curved surfaces. Oh yeah, you're going to have to go with if you want to map out a curved surface like that. Niji says that their machine will do it, and I don't doubt it, but I haven't figured out how to do it. and X-Tool says that their machine will do it. Now the Niji, I've got the 4 Max over there, which is a huge machine, but they say that it'll do curved surface engraving, but it won't do it in Lightburn, and I don't really want to learn another software because I don't do that much stuff with curves. Yeah, ET, the We Create, I mean, the power Z axis, the way that it folds up and expands, and I mean, it is not a bad machine, especially for the price tag that they've got on it. I like it. I'm planning on hanging on to it. I don't know that I'll use it every day because, like I said, a lot of times the jobs are a little bigger, and I have 30 and 40 watt machines that can do them a little faster. But for doing small projects and especially tumblers, the We Create, it's very convenient for that. Well, I don't say I wouldn't say I love them. One bone that I have to pick with X Tool is they really bad to be proprietary. I mean, I do think they make a solid machine that will function. I wish, like with the S1, I wish they'd put a camera in it. It wouldn't have been what their cost probably another $20 to engineer a camera into the thing, and so many people would have been so much happier with the machine with the camera. I wish I owned a company that built machines and I could just like design it myself. But I've never had a problem with any of my X tools. I've never had to call their support people. So, you know, a lot of the stuff I hear is mainly complaints about their support. I've never had to call them. I've never had a problem with my machine that I couldn't fix. That's it. That is. So, but yeah, I hear people say that X tool. I mean, like I said, I hear bad things, but I can't say that my experiences were bad. Yeah, Reed, my very first machine I bought was a 10 watt X Tool D1 no limits, and I've still got it. It's my backup machine for my portable enclosure, and I'm running the 20 watt Pro as my primary. And in the event that I have a failure or something comes out of adjustment, I can swap out the 20 watt Pro for the 10 watt. And both of my machines still work great. The X tool still got the same lens in it came with from the factory. So, well, like I said, Bo, I mean, I've never had to call them. The 2 or 3 little times that I had a problem with my flame sensor going off too much, and I had a screw come loose one time that caused me a problem. I was able to figure out what the problem was and fix it, and didn't have to require anything from them. So I guess I've just been lucky. But I've also, like I said, I like Acer, but I'm not a fan of the L24. I'm just throwing it out there, guys. I've got one. I don't think the average person, it just, if you told me, hey, do you want to, which matter of fact they did, Acer offered to replace my L24 with an L36, and I told them I'd rather have a V35. So that tells you where I stand on that. But longer's really growing on me, and Steve over at there's another Steve. What is up with Steve's and YouTube channels? But Steve over at Steve Makes Everything. He's done a lot of reviews on the longer machines, and I gotta agree with him on a lot of the stuff. They're simple machines, but man, they're built good, and so far I'm getting good results out of them. I killed my algo laser last week. I'm not sure what happened with it, and I've got to reach out to him. I haven't yet, but it has died. Ventari, Steve, it's because there's too many of them. Have you ever been to lay a black mark on stainless steel that's not brown? Well, I don't know. Never really paid any attention to that. I've got a bunch of test stuff over here. Hang on. I did all kinds of different colors. But most of this was I was trying to clean it and trying to get some different color. Let me see what else I got. I can't say for sure that I have, but I'm pretty sure I have on a couple of knife blades. Uh, but I don't recall exactly how I went about doing it. To be honest with you, I don't know. I'd have to look. I have to play with that one day when I'm caught up. But I do know you can get a different effect raising it out of focus slightly. You can't go too far with a fiber, or you won't do any damage to it or any engraving. But the frequency, I played around with the frequency, power, speed, and but now I haven't. I can't say for sure that I have, but I feel like I have made a black mark on a knife with one. I have to go back and look at some of my other test pieces, but I throw a lot of that stuff away. I think you're just getting easily triggered tonight, there, Steve. That's what it is. You're being sensitive tonight, Steve. Ventari. We can just start calling you Ventari. How about that? All y'all Steves. Woo. All right, it's getting about my bedtime, guys. I'm going to start yawning. I'm trying to drink some water to keep from yawning. And I've been at this almost 2 hours. And I need to kind of get us a little straightened up in here. So I appreciate y'all hanging out with me. It's been fun. Good to meet some of you new guys. If, like I said, y'all, if you're new to the channel, like I said, I appreciate you stopping by. And hopefully we can, just stick with calling you hobo. Yeah. It makes it easier. It's less confusing. There's not very many hobos in here. But I appreciate y'all stopping by and hanging out here at the shop. And like I said, cranking this job out. I really wish I could show you guys what it is that I've got going on. But can't do it just yet. What is the difference and when do I use current position? Current position is one of those tools to where if it's a one-off job, and you don't want to have to try to do a jig or whatever, current position's a really cool tool. It's really handy if you have, let's say you have a box or a bowl or something. You have a bowl and you're trying to engrave on the bottom of the bowl. Well, it would be really difficult to do that if you home the machine and then ran out and all that. But with current position, you can actually draw a dot on the bottom of the bowl. Let's say you're doing a ceramic bowl and you want to put a design in the bottom of it or whatever. But you can't go too far because you'll hit the sides. Well, using current position, you can position your laser directly in the middle of that bowl, and the machine will only move to where it has to go to do the engrave, and then it'll go back to the center. So there's no returning to home. There's no added movements. I've used it to do the lids on jewelry boxes that have like a little raised edge around them. Most of these lasers don't have a whole lot of clearance. And I use it like I had a lady brought me a board last night. It was 30 inches long, like 8 or 9 inches wide. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of time trying to frame it up. So I measured, found the absolute center of it, set me something up to make sure it was square, lined my laser up with the mark where I marked the center, put my machine on current position, and did the burn. And it makes it a lot simpler. So one-offs, current position is really, really handy. And those times when you don't want the machine moving outside of a certain area is another one that it's really handy for. Some machines you can only do current position, and that has its advantages and disadvantages as well. But anyway, well, I appreciate that, Reed. Glad to help. Like I said, I in no way do I claim to be like the know-all be-all. I try to pass on to you guys what I've learned from my mistakes and how I do things. So, yeah, May. Yeah, you think? I got a stack of parts right over there. that I got to put together. So yeah, everybody, there's May May. Go over there and like clack attack her channel or something. Leave a thumbs up. She does paper crafting. She's a really good friend of mine, and she's one of the big time YouTubers. She's not like me. We're just kind of sitting over here, hanging out, having a good time. Well, yeah, right now, May, you put me on a deadline. I've got a lot of work and not a whole lot of time to get it done. So I'm just babysitting machines mostly. They're doing all the work. Uh, I had a really large pile of wood right there, but I burned up a lot of it. So, but yeah, I'm trying to get these things done for you. Well, if you ever use a laser, May, you would never use scissors again. It's the supplier of antlers. Yeah, she did. She did make me wear the antlers the other day. Ventari. Since I can't say Steve tonight, too many Steves in here. But but yeah, she's got a business here in Clanton. Like I said, we work together on things. I make things for her. She kind of helps me. She's probably to blame for me actually having a YouTube channel. I believe it. Honestly, if I had to be honest about it, because I was just playing around with it, and then when I met somebody that actually had a YouTube channel that had more than 10 subscribers, I was like, wow, you can actually do that. So, hey, if maybe one day we can get him down to your shop, May, and we will let you dress him up. You're gonna need to get like a Bigfoot costume or something for him though, because he's tall. He's actually probably about 5 or 6 inches taller than I am. So, and I'm like 6 foot. So he's a pretty good sized fella. But you can get him a Sasquatch outfit. It would fit him perfectly. But anyway, guys, if you're new to the channel, like I said, I know a lot of you said it was the first time here. Check out some of the videos. Be sure to hit thumbs up, follow, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. Also, like I said, if you're going to message me, please message me on Facebook. If you haven't followed my Facebook page, do that. Because when you send those messages to me on Etsy and I don't answer in the adequate time, Etsy's going to start dinging me for it. And I try to keep my little star seller icon up there. And if I get too many long delays responses, it tends to affect that. So sounds like the longer's done, and I'm going to not feed it anymore tonight. We're going to let these guys go to sleep, and then tomorrow night I'll come out, clean them up, and we'll get back to work. But thanks for stopping by, guys, and I'm going to get some of this stuff cleaned up so I can get this stuff done for May. So y'all be good. Go check out May's channel. Give her a thumbs up. Tell her it's a clack attack. Just comment randomly on videos that she's got out there. But until next time, guys, be safe and have a good day. We'll see you later there. Steve's, Hobo, Steve, and Tari.